Today's been an absolutely unrelenting day of news, and tonight we have another massive story to break down. Now, apologies for releasing this video so late. I was kind of anticipating Romeo Lavia might get announced tonight, so I wanted to kill two birds with one stone. But today, my friends, we discuss young Leon Wonder Kids in Bradley Barcola, as today we have made efforts to try and sign the talented winger. So I'm going to break down this game, discuss the stories, and give you guys some insight behind all things Bradley Barcola. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys have watched all the other vids today, and of course hit that like button if you guys are enjoying the video too. Without wasting any more time, now we discuss the reports that were released today by French reporter in Fabrice Hawkins, and today he reveals that we have made accelerated efforts for Bradley Barcola in recent hours towards Lyon. Now, it's all kind of new right now. It does seem like we are developing a bit of a shortlist right now that we've missed out on signing Michael Olise. That is very unfortunate news. And when I saw Olise's reaction after signing that contract, like, you could tell this guy's deep in his thoughts, thinking, rah, like I had everything in my hands. I was so close to making that step up in my career, and you know, Crystal Palace weren't happy. And in my humble opinion, it must have something to do with Lewis Hall, because if Lewis Hall was going to Crystal Palace, I don't think they care right now, to be fair with you. But regardless, my friends, we know that Paris Saint-Germain have also tried to make efforts for Barcola recently, and they recently had a 35 million bid plus bonuses rejected by Lyon. But it's starting to feel like Lyon could be open to a sell. We understand that these guys have financial difficulties, but the price has to be right. If you're going to sign any player from them as the window is coming to an end, you'll have to pay a bit of a premium. Like, it only makes sense because Lyon have to reinvest and buy a replacement if they sell one of their star players. So I'm more than fine with that. But today we discuss Bradley Johnson of Nottingham Forest, but now discussing Bradley Barcola, and it gets you thinking, what exactly is the plan that we have for this transfer window? And in my opinion, my friends, I kind of feel like maybe we are transitioning now to looking towards wide forward type of players. And I say that because Barcola is excellent across all attacking positions, left, right, and centre forward as well too. I'll be discussing this game in a bit more detail later on in this video, so make sure you guys definitely stay tuned for that. But Brendan Johnson is also someone quite similar in these regards too, but I have to say that Barcola is a level above Johnson. Johnson scored 8 goals for Nottingham Forest, dangerous player on the counter-attack. I know there's some stats suggesting that, not suggesting, but proving that he has like the highest carrying distance in the league. But before seeing how Nottingham Forest play, like, they play quite one-dimensionally sometimes in terms of how they create chances for their forwards. And with Johnson either playing on the right-hand side or up front, he's constantly using his explosive pace in behind to run onto the ball. But for me, I don't care about these types of stats. Yeah, they look nice on paper, but it's all about end products in the field, right? And I just feel that with Brendan Johnson, he's quite one-dimensional in his game. I feel like he's quite predictable. Do I trust him in games where maybe we might be playing against like tight-packed defenses? Probably not. In terms of his overall game, is he going to play the right pass in the counter-attack? Is he going to get his touch perfect when it comes to maybe releasing a teammate with a cutback or like a nice give and go on behind? I'm not too sure. And sometimes it's like finishing selection. In terms of like the technique behind his finishing, it can be a little bit one-dimensional. There's not too much behind his game. A few times when he's 1v1, especially against Arsenal recently, you're thinking to yourself, why not do like a dinked effort over the top? And for me, maybe I'm being harsh, but for certain players that have the capacity to play at the highest level, where you have fans that are very unrelenting, where they don't have any patience for you, where we are playing for results. So you can't afford to have too many mistakes in your game. You have to take advantage. And normally players with like a bigger technical capacity and skill set, you know, they're the ones that you can trust in these moments. And I just don't think that Johnson, yeah, he can miss a few chances at Nottingham Forest, but those same misses wouldn't be accepted here. I just think that in terms of the pressure that goes into players each game, I just don't think Johnson is the right player, even though I'm not opposed to this wide forward type of position that we're looking to sign. Now, right now, I'm seeing that West Ham are coming close to signing Mohamed Kudus, and in my head, a part of me is like a little bit disappointed towards Kudus, because it's like, if you can't get a move to a top club, why go to West Ham? Why not stay at Ajax for one more season when you're going to play in Europe? And of course, next summer, if you're an absolute star for them, you're going to have even more clubs after you. I just don't understand why West Ham is the next move, other than things like money, playing in the Premier League. Because even if you are successful, the amount of money it's going to cost for any club to sign you from them, I feel like you have more options available if you just maybe, be a bit patient, in my opinion. But I'm crossing my fingers that we come in with a hijack for Mohamed Kudus. It isn't the first time this window we've used a similar strategy. And what I find interesting still is that I feel like Kudus could also be very effective in this Pochettino system, especially when we saw that transition threat against Liverpool first game in the season, especially like now that Nkunku isn't about. It does kind of feel like maybe we are targeting other players now that can add more speed to our attack. And I'm going to give you guys an explanation behind why I feel this is the case, because against Liverpool, there were a few times where Nicholas Jackson was spearheading counter-attacks all by himself, right? But when Mudryk came on in those final 10-15 minutes, there was that one attacking move that I feel like we should have capitalized and scored a goal from that situation. But once there was backup pace alongside Nicholas Jackson, that caused a lot of issues. So now my thinking is, imagine if there's an additional speed monster on that right hand side, where maybe the plan for this season is to revert to using a 4-3-3 now that Nkunku is out of the team. I feel like Nkunku is that good so that you could afford to use a 4-2-3-1 based on Nkunku dropping into midfield at times, spearheading attacks and giving support to the wide areas, right? But I feel like now that Lavia's here, Enzo Caicedo, Pochettino may feel like for a young team in general, I'd feel a lot more safer if I had additional midfield support. So the only way to overcome the massive gaps when it comes to creating those transition counter-attacking moments, maybe I revamp my ideas. Maybe I target a wide forward on the right hand side that is also incredible in the transition, that can score, that can play either flank, that can attack the box, that can combine and, cover the distances and ground very quickly. And I think this is where Bradley Barcola now becomes an incredibly interesting player. So now let me discuss a bit of his game, give you guys a little bit of tactics here, tactics there. I hope you guys enjoy this part. So now, my friends, I'm going to use FB Ref to give you guys some more insight behind Barcola's game. And I mean, immediately we can see the wages. Capology state that he's earning around 7,500 a week, and he does fit that strategy of investing young, because if you give this guy a massive pay upgrade of maybe 40,000-50,000 pounds, that's going to satisfy the player, but then he easily falls within our new wage structure. Maybe guys like Olise, he's on nearly 20 times the money for really poor output right at the time. So again, he makes a lot of sense. But let's now scroll down and wow, look at his stats. And in my opinion, I feel like he is the perfect Pochettino protege, Pochettino attacking player. And at 20 years old, last season, especially second half of last season in Ligue 1, he was absolutely on fire. He found new form, and I think that he's ready to explode now. And he was very unlucky that maybe Nuno Mendes won Young Player of the Year awards in Ligue 1. But my lord, look at these stats. Look, assists in the 99th percentile. Only Messi ranks above. I mean, that's incredible. His non-penalty goals, that tells you about the positions he finds himself inside the box. And it's reflected here, my friends. Touches in the attacking penalty area. His pace, that explosiveness and the intelligence, because it's easy just being a pace merchant if you don't know how to use your pace. And his understanding of space. Players that have both together, it just creates a bit of a separation that other players just can't match or follow. On top of this too, my friends, successful take-ons. It means that he is not wasteful when he's carrying the ball in the transition on counter-attacking moments, or if he finds himself on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. He has that ball retention ability, which means that you can trust how he uses the ball in the final third. But another incredible thing about him, which really suits Pochettino down to a T, really, look at his percentiles for things like interceptions, blocks, aerials won. We could do with an additional aerial threat inside the box from crosses, right? And on top of that too, his ability to press high, to maintain that intensity. Now, under Pochettino's Spurs team, they were renowned for being able to, win back possession in these types of transitional moments, and they scored a lot of goals in these areas. So if we're applying the same principles to ourselves, having like speed monsters like Mudryk on the left hand side, who looks like a different player right now, I think we can all agree on that. Having a Barcola and Noni on the right hand side and Sterling too. We have a lot of inside forwards that have the ability to score goals and get assists, and they have the additional benefit of having some technical capacity to their game. Like, for me, when top clubs like us sign players, you can't just be good at like 3 things to like a crazy level. You need to have like a very good all-round game and like other factors that we can draw towards, because, you know, clubs like us, we're going to play against a lot of difficult opponents who will park the bus at times, make things very hard. And when players get figured out in these moments, like we saw with the Timo Werner, for example, it creates a lot of other issues for the teammates around the field. So these are no concerns for Bradley Barcola, and it's no surprise why top clubs have been heavily watching this guy. I mean, last season he got 7 goals and 10 assists in 35 games. So that works out nearly being like 1 goal contribution every 2 games, which for a 20-year-old for his first breakout season in Ligue 1, that's very, very promising. Now, I know you guys are seeing his compilation on screen right now. You're seeing his tech de dribble, my friends, and obviously that's not probably even a real French word, but it sounds alright. But just look how he operates when he gets near the box and around the box. You're seeing crosses from either foot. You're seeing the close control. The ball is glued to his feet. He can change directions on a fly, on a spin, for absolutely nothing. And in terms of his decision making in the final third, that's the impressive thing. That's why the assist numbers are high. Either foot, pinpoint, cut back crosses inside the box. Like, he has the ability to take the ball right to the edge of the field before playing a pinpoint, perfectly weighted cut back cross inside the box. And these are the type of movements that we have to exploit for next season. Like, that is the rule. That's how we are creating opportunities. So Barcola really suits this new style of play that Pochettino wants to encourage and builds. And he's a very positive player that makes goals happen. And I think, you know what? I see this being a potentially great signing if we can pull this off. And as we can see here, like when he's on the counter attack, looking to time his runs in behind, his shooting is quite accurate. I mean, what, 46.4% for 20 years old. And obviously his goal return can easily improve. And this is the interesting thing about players like Barcola, because look how Pochettino transformed Heung-min Son. Son's shooting technique, adding those, fine-tuning their game. That's the genius behind Pochettino. I look at Harry Kane. You know, he has a forward which he knows doesn't necessarily have the physicality to lead the attacks, but with like great work over multiple seasons, you're creating unique aspects to Harry Kane, like the ability to really play those balls in behind, link up with the teammates more, shooting from outside the box, inside the box, working on those types of details. Like we saw Pochettino really telling Angelo Gabriel during preseason, okay, when the ball comes here on the right hand side, I want you to make an angled run every single time. These are the type of facets and details that Pochettino encourages in his players. And I think that Barcola, alongside a manager like Pochettino, I think very special things can happen. I mean, he has very nice stats for average shooting distance. In terms of passing, I wouldn't really take this too serious because he's not playing a role at Lyon where he's going to have like 50 touches of the ball. And they don't play that type of like possession passing with their wingers. It's about him getting into spaces quickly, and how effective is he in these areas when he does have the ball like every few minutes. And this is where he really shines and stands out. I mean, the assist record is absolutely crazy. Assists from the left, right and up front too. And knowing how we're going to have like guys making late man runs inside the books, you know, guys like Sterling's and Mudryk's and Jackson's entering the books as well too. For me, I think this is another nice facet and detail to add. But of course, in terms of defending, I discussed that already. The guy's a pressing monster and can only improve. And it helps that he's a very tall winger. He's a very strong winger. You know, he's got the aerial threat too. And he's incredibly explosive in terms of close control and running over distances too, my friends. And as we can see here, when he gets the ball, he looks to get inside the box. And details like this, like carries into the penalty area. He can only get better at these types of details and take his game to the next level. Successful take-ons can improve even more. All these facets to his game, which I find really, really interesting. So again, things like carries into the final third don't matter because he's a guy that's inside the books already. But so my friends, that's a bit of an idea around Bradley Barcola. I think these are some of the ideas the club might be thinking about right now. And to be fair, it makes a lot of sense and it's quite intelligent. So share your thoughts and opinions. How do you feel about this potential new signing? And my friends, on that note, I am Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.